Alright, my name is Manny. We're in New Bern today. And this is Rutas Garcia. Hey! Damn.
That boy looks like he's gonna explode or throw up or both.
Right now we're standing at Union Point Place, which is at the edge of the peninsula in which New Bern is located. Today we're going to be stopping by several places, several museums, including the Pepsi Museum. We're going to stop by the Fire Museum, Tryon Palace, and let's see what we can find. Let's go. Mira, abuela, aquí estamos en New Bern. Aquí como a hora y media de la casa. It's like al este de Kingston, como 50 millas. Y ahorita estamos en un parque que se llama Union Park. New Bern is located here at the peninsula where the Neuse and Trent River meet, and the Greater Pamlico Sound. Before the settlement, the Tuscarora nations had lived here in a village they called Chitoka. Tensions were immediate, but they would trade and negotiate land with European settlers up until the Tuscarora War, which lasted from 1711 to 1715. Von Graffenried returned to Switzerland during the war with New Bern devastated. But ultimately, after the fall of Tuscarora stronghold Niharoka, by what is now Snow Hill in Greene County, North Carolina, many natives were sold into slavery in the North and the Caribbeans, and remaining Tuscarora fled to places like New York or joined the Iroquois Confederacy. New Bern has also experienced wartime in the U.S. Revolutionary War that lasted from 1775 to 1783, and when rebelling Confederate forces fell to Union forces in the U.S. Civil War, which was from 1861 to 1865.
The swings weren't here. The swings are actually new.
Yeah? Loving it.
You want a solo?
Probably should. Sure. I'll be on this side though. Alright, we're taking a walk from the park over here to the historic district. New Bern was founded in 1710 in a settlement led by Swiss nobleman von Graffenried as part of the colonization of the Americas. It was named New Bern after Bern, the capital of Switzerland, and is recognized as a daughter or sister city to the capital of Switzerland. Bern means bear in German, which according to legends is the first animal the city's founder encountered on a hunt there. And you can see this in New Bern with their flag and the bears that the town has placed around town. I wanted to highlight this one poster from 2010, which shows some of the bears scattered around New Bern at the time. That year, New Bern celebrated their 300th anniversary and invited officials from Bern, Switzerland to come celebrate. Christ Episcopal Church. This used to be a public cemetery until 1800, after the yellow fever epidemic in 1799 led victims to be buried in mass graves, which is along the current northern property line. The filling of the churchyard led to the opening of Cedar Grove Cemetery, which we'll also visit. Here you'll probably find some of the oldest tombs in New Bern and North Carolina in general. Caleb Bradham was born in Chinkapin, which is in Duplin County, North Carolina. He attended the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill and went to the University of Maryland for medical school. However, he was unable to finish for financial reasons and became a teacher in New Bern. He went back to school later, but for the School of Pharmacy. After he graduated, he came back to New Bern where he opened a drugstore and invented Pepsi Cola, or what was then often called Bradstream. It was given its current name Pepsi Cola after pepsin enzyme, since it was meant to aid digestion, and held one of the first trademarks in the US. Caleb Bradham eventually sold his Pepsi Cola company in 1923 after sugar prices fluctuated because of World War I and could not keep selling bottles at 5 cents. He passed away in 1934 just as Pepsi bottles began being sold for 5 cents again, and the company took off. This is the New Bern Civic Theater. It was constructed in 1910 and opened its doors the year after. It was originally known as the Athens Theater and screened silent movies. Since then, it has also taken the name of the Show Shop, the Kehoe Theater, and Tryon Theater. Many of the buildings and architectural styles in New Bern are influenced by the concept of Greek revival. No, for real.
That scared the shit out of me, bro. I was like, damn, they're shooting.
Oh my god.
Dude.
Get up here.
Oh,
Stop.
that's neat. Where are you going, bro? I'm scared.
I don't know.
I'm scared.
This is the way out, right?
We're like in someone's backyard.
Here is the St. Paul Roman Catholic Church, established in 1821. It is the first Catholic church in North Carolina. Though it has another building, there are still Friday masses held here at 8 a.m. In 1983, a new church was constructed in Trent Woods, specifically to be close to both black and white communities. This is Temple B'nai Sholem, a Jewish synagogue that dates back to 1908 and is still active. Jews have been present since the colonial times, though they didn't organize until after the Civil War. The first Presbyterian church formed in 1817 with a grandson of a signer of the Declaration of Independence, John Knox Witherspoon, serving as organizing minister. The session house served as a sanctuary hospital during the Civil War, after Union forces took over. Manny, make sure this is the part where you edit back in that last video. Standing in front of First Pres Church. So I'm standing at the intersection of New Street and Middle Street, right across from Methodist Church. The first Methodist church in New Bern was established in 1802 and called Andrew's Chapel. It served all Methodists, including free and enslaved black people, though segregated, until white Methodists left to establish what is now the Centenary United Methodist Church.
The remaining black congregation later united with the African Methodist Zion Church and moved to what is now St. Peter's African Methodist Episcopal Zion Church in 1963. It is the oldest AMEZ church in the U.S. South, with Andrews Chapel being considered the mother church of all the AMEZ churches in the South.
But I'm in the same area as the old St. Paul Church, as well as the First Presbyterian Church, which just comes to show you about the religious diversity in the area.
This corner lot was purchased in 1826 by a gentleman by the name of George Washington Dixon. He was born in 1802 in Hart County, just south of here. He was orphaned though at the age of 14. We didn't have orphanages at the time, so the courts assigned him to a tradesman to learn a trade. He was apprenticed off as a tailor. He got on his own at age 18. He opened up his own tailor shop about 4 blocks from here across from Now Christ Church. And at the age of 21, he married his wife, Angelina Hunt. And in 1826, he bought this corner lot for $750. For $2,000, he got a house. Now, at that time, there was a rejection of Georgian architecture. That's a citizen of England. We were an independent country. We created our own architecture style called federal, for the federal government, federalist nation. Federal architecture is more box-like, more vertical, with no symmetry. The doors off to the side has a lot of elements of ancient Greece and Rome. I'm going to take you inside, but I have to go to the rules and regulations. No open food, drink, the government's going to the building. You can take non-flash photography, no flash, no video, please. But
I'm standing in front of the George W. Dixon house. We just got done with a tour. I actually really like the tour guide and his style, but he was telling us all kinds of things, like the fact that apparently this wasn't even actually built by like an architect, because there were so many little funky details, like the exit, it looks like there's a little bit more space above the door, but when you walk in, like, it's the staircase immediately. And if you keep going up the staircase, for example, like one of these windows is covered by that same staircase. But yeah, just little things like that. And apparently, whatchamacallit, I was gonna mention.
Actually made by slavery.
Yeah, man. I mean, I kind of assumed that with most things, but most places don't actually say it done directly.
Right.
But yeah. What was I gonna say? Architect. Oh yeah, and because this is like a building from 1800s, there wasn't necessarily electricity light switches built next to the doors, or at some point when new owners renovated there was, but when Tryon Palace acquired the property, they moved the light switches to the floor, and like they're right next to the door. When you walk in, like you just kind of flick it now, but it's just to give an illusion. But for sure, like if you ever get the chance, come out here and get a tour from Dennis. Like, he was great, but definitely gave a lot of Liberty Hall vibes, but from a little bit of a different time period. Yeah. Oh yeah, and back here they said that they previously had like 12 of these sheds for slaves, and they've only been able to preserve 2 now, but that's where they stayed, and this is the backyard. All right, so I'm standing right outside of Tryon Palace.
The first capital of North Carolina was here at Tryon Palace. From the time its construction was completed in 1770 till a vote to move the state capital to a more central location took place in 1788, and a new capital in Raleigh was complete in 1794. Before, New Bern held official assembly meetings, but they would move around between places like Edenton and Bath. So we couldn't record much inside, but basically John Hawkes was the architect from London who designed Tryon Palace. He arrived with Governor William Tryon in 1764. William Tryon was an aristocrat who was appointed Lieutenant Governor of North Carolina through family and connections. After the death of former Governor Arthur Hobbs, the year after, William Tryon was appointed official royal governor by King George III. That same year, the Stamp Act was passed, and even though he claimed his opposition to the tax levied on the colonists, He kept his loyalty to the king and requested troops to enforce it, before successful organized resistance led to the act being repealed in 1766. Less than a year later, £5,000 were appropriated by the Assembly to begin construction of a Capitol building. However, Tryon went over budget, spending £15,000 or 200% over budget. He passed it on to the taxpayers, which led to the Battle of Alamance, dubbed the Regulators' War.
What surprised me is that apparently after the fact in 1798 there was a big fire that basically like devastated this whole place, and it wasn't until like 1951 they tried to rebuild it and make sure that visitors could come in and check it out.
Como nos dijo esta
Hola abuela, saludos desde New Bern. Venimos a ver un pueblito que se había construido inspirado por otra ciudad allá en Suiza que se llama Bern, y pues aquí llegaron a colonizar donde vivían los de Tuscarora y llegaron a construir el primer capital de Carolina del Norte aquí en lo que es el Tryon Palace, el Palacio de Tryon. Y aquí estamos rodeando por los jardines por atrás. Acabamos de terminar la guía. Fue maravilloso, nomás no pudimos sacar tanto video, pero hubo muchas cosas dentro que todavía siguen, no necesariamente del edificio original, pero de ese tiempo. La madera y la ropa y artículos. Sí, pues, pero saludos desde acá.
ganabas entre 14 y 20.
Real quick, we're just up here on the second floor. Downstairs is like a kitchen, but up here is where the servants and the cook stayed. That cook is a French one.
For them, it would take days. So when they traveled, they tended to stay. For them to say, I only stayed a month, it's pretty much like us saying, I only stayed a day. Now, there's a room in the palace we have not seen, and we are not going to see it. Any ideas what room would be missing back in the 18th century? How about the bathroom?
Este edificio fue una cárcel, como ven ahí.
Mira, esto todo parece estar conectado.
Hey!
Is he? Oh, it's just working out.
What else were we at? Lawson. Oh, and right now we're standing we're standing right now at Lawson's Creek Park, specifically like Jack's Island and Marsh Walk. So from right here you can see I'm pretty sure that's the 70, right? The 70 go across. But New Bern is actually behind us in this direction over here. Yeah, you can't see it, but you'll see it in the other frame that I'll insert right here. We briefly passed by the fire museum. That's probably going to be another visit.
Oh yeah. I got it.
That would have been nice to walk to though.
Stabilizer would have been nice right now. This footage is gonna be all shaky. It's okay. Okay.
There's New Bern Academy, the first public charter school.
It's that one right there. Turn left. Oh, it's a one-way street. Ah, madre. God. You think it was this one or is that one? First North
I
Carolina.
think it was this one on the corner. Because of how square and simple it is. Yeah, that's this one. Cedar Grove Cemetery was established in 1800 after the Christchurch Public Cemetery closed because of too many yellow fever deaths. Cedar Grove Cemetery is where many politicians, local historical figures, and soldiers reside. Some notable names include John Stanley, Edward Graham Daves, Eugene S. Carraway, Caleb Bradham, and many more. When Cedar Grove Cemetery was founded, slaves and free black residents could be buried here. Leading up to the Civil War, free black people's gun rights were restricted, they lost their right to vote and preach in public. Just over 30 years after the Civil War came the end of the Reconstruction period, in which newly freed slaves first established their legal rights. After Reconstruction, Jim Crow laws enforced segregation to a different extent. In the early 1900s, Cedar Grove began to fill up, and the General Assembly approved exhuming non-white graves and moving them to a mass grave in Greenwood Cemetery. Though there has never been an exact number for the people that were moved, at least 12 tombstones were moved to Greenwood Cemetery. In 2019, East Carolina University students excavated those burial grounds to investigate the conditions of these remains, only to find few bones on the ground vault, fractured and in a commingled state, or all mixed in.
Son los descendientes de los patriotas que pelearon por la Revolución Americana.
Basically.
Yeah, like the daughters of the Confederacy. Like, they're just meant to keep their descendants' honors alive.
And look, and it just says a bunch of like, they didn't even get to like 5. That's what I'm looking at.
Age 4, age 9, age 3 and 1 month.
October 2nd, 1825. Age 3 years old, 1 month and 25 days. Ah! Dang, te picó un buen mosquito.
Está hasta allá, bro. Por lo menos moví la troca para acá, ¿no? Yeah, we're on the way.
Here's a Confederate monument planned since 1872 but finished in 1885. Its Latin inscription translates to, "It is sweet and fitting to die for one's country." We're at Greenwood Cemetery, which opened after the Civil War in 1882. Most notably, here lies at least 5 black Civil War veterans who served in the U.S. colored troops during the war, along with many other black veterans who have served since. Here also resides John Thomas Barber, a locally celebrated educator, whom J.T. Barber Elementary is named after. James Edward O'Hara is also buried here. Born to an Irish merchant and a West Indian mother, he taught in New Bern and Goldsboro, North Carolina, and was elected to state Congress as a Republican while he was still a law student. He was outspoken about racial violence and started newspaper Enfield Progress and practiced law after he returned to New Bern. Compared to Cedar Grove, there's a notable difference between the upkeep of the cemeteries. There are not any clear paths in Greenwood, besides the one-way lane right in the middle, and there had to be a sign placed for dog walkers to clean after their animals. Both Greenwood and Cedar Grove have been city-owned since 1860 and 1853, respectively.
For those about to rock.
Entonces vamos. ¿Cuándo fue la guerra civil?
En los 1860, so hace 160 años. Yeah.
1860.
3, 4 generaciones, 5 quizás.
Increíble cómo los soldados pudieron estar aquí.
La cosa es que muchos no nos damos cuenta que estando en Carolina del Norte, seguimos siendo parte del sur y siendo del lado que perdió los Confederates.
En esta guerra civil los del norte eran la Unión y los del sur eran los confederados.
Los del sur querían romperse, apartarse de lo que era Estados Unidos y crear su propio país. Era una rebelión, pues.
Una rebelión que falló. Una de las guerras más sangrientas de Estados Unidos, ¿no?
Sí, definitivamente.
Miren, encontramos un mapa. Entonces estamos aquí. Y nosotros, bueno chicos, le vamos a seguir por acá. Qué bueno que trajimos ahora nuestros zapatos para correr.
There you go.
Me encanta la naturaleza de... Oh, these are
All right, am I in the frame? Yeah. So I was trying to figure out where the park ended and where the battlefield started, and apparently since back there we saw some of these. Basically, this is exactly where they'd hide behind. Like, it's kind of crazy, but this is where they sit down, or not sit down, but damn. Like, this is where they'd be at. I can't believe it. You just be right here and waiting for gunshots or waiting for orders. Like, you never know if somebody's gonna come up and throw a bomb. Dang. Like, definitely people have died here, pues. Ay, ay, ay. 160 years later.